What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review, and today we're taking a look at another figure from the brand new Marvel Legends Gamerverse Joe Fixit Build-A-Figure wave, and today what we're looking at is Marvel's Falcon. This is a character that's been in desperate need of an update for many years, so I'm happy that Hasbro finally got around to it. But let's go ahead and get into it, starting off with the packaging. You are able to see Sam Wilson himself. You can see the extra set of hands that he comes with, and then we have the wings in the background. Here in the front it says Marvel's Falcon. On the side of the box we get some cool looking Falcon artwork. On the back we get a look at all the other figures it takes to build Joe Fixit, and then we have a one-sentence biography of Marvel's Falcon, and then we do get a shot of the figure itself, and that's about it for the packaging. It is collector friendly as always, but you know what, for me, when it comes to Marvel Legends figures that have Build-A-Figure pieces, I don't care if the packaging is collector friendly because it goes in the garbage anyways. But let's go ahead and rip Falcon out and take a look. Okay, so here we have Falcon, aka Sam Wilson, right out of the packaging, and I went ahead and put him on one of the Mafex figure stands because those things work perfectly for Marvel Legends. And as you can see, Sam Wilson is looking pretty cool in a flight pose like this. So the figure is a little plain, but I think he does the job. But there's not a whole lot of sculpting work on him. He does have some new parts, which I was kind of surprised by. But yeah, he looks really dope, like flying like that. The wings are really cool. The wings are the same wings that we saw on the Vulture figure. And on Vulture, I didn't really like them because they didn't stay in. But luckily with Falcon, they're having no issues staying in place. And they come off easy, so if you want to have him look like, you know, not in action, kind of just neutral hanging out, you could take his wings out. And there you go. Falcon with no wings. And the figure does look really nice. And the new parts that I mentioned, aside from the head, are the arms. Because as you can see, the arms do look very similar to like the standard arms on the Sunfire body. But these do not have the pins. So we've got the pinless thing going on. And then his shoes, or his feet, look new. And then obviously the head. But yeah, so I didn't really expect to get new arms on Falcon. But as I mentioned, he is a little plain. No sculpting work on the body. It is the Sunfire body, which I like that body mold a lot. And I think it works pretty good for Falcon. But yeah, I just wish they did a little bit more to make the body more interesting, you know. Like, it's just very flat. I know it's more based on his, like, more recent comic book appearances. And that's cool, you know. But it's always nice to get figures with a bunch of detail, too. Let me go ahead and plug these back in. And then we're going to bust out the Toy Biz Falcon figure. Alright, so we have Falcon's wings back in. And these do look really cool. They're semi-translucent, but they look nice. They're not straight up see-through. They still have, like, a very reddish look to them. And yeah, they look dope on him. And then let's go ahead and bust out the Toy Biz version. As you can see, they're based on very different looks. The Hasbro one has a more modern look, and over here we have that 70s, kind of outdated costume, but still, it looks cool and it screams classic comics. So I do like this costume a lot, and it would have been nice to see Hasbro try this take, you know, or give us their interpretation of this costume. I think that would have been great, but they went with a more sleeker, simpler design, and that's cool. But man, I can't help but be impressed by this figure when I'm looking at it because the amount of details that they put into it. All the costume details are sculpted. He's got sculpted details on the feet. We've got the Falcon feet. I was gonna just say some other random bird. But yeah, we got the Falcon feet on the shoes, and then even the wings have like these mechanics sculpted into them. So man, it's very impressive. You know, Toy Biz was something else. But you know, this figure definitely looks outdated and crazy, and not just because of the costume. You know, he's got those big ass shoulders. He's got a lot of stuff going on here that doesn't feel very current. But the new one has a very sleek, nice looking design, and it's gonna look great alongside the modern Marvel Legends from Hasbro. So yeah, it's really cool to finally get a new comic book Falcon because you know it's been so long since anybody's made one, and this one did come out pretty good. I do like it. And the little bit of sculpting work they did here is pretty well done. As you can see here, we have a nice looking Sam Wilson head sculpt. I like the details and the facial expression and all of that good stuff. But as you can see, the paint is a little bit sloppy where the skin meets the mask. So that kind of sucks. And then same thing over here around the ear. It gets pretty sloppy. So that's unfortunate, but the sculpt is nice. I do like the way it looks. And then moving down into the body, you can see that right here where the two pieces of plastic meet, you can see the seam. and that's not very pretty. So I might have to touch that up. Aside from that, I think the paint is pretty decent. I got a little bit of red there where it shouldn't be, but I didn't even notice that till right now. Under the shoulders, there's some chipping, but nothing crazy. And yeah, like I said, we do have the pinless joints on the arms, so that's nice. And then we have these forearm gauntlets that look pretty good. They don't swivel around or anything, and they don't look like they're a separate piece. That's interesting. And then moving down here, I mean, the paint has a couple of flaws, nothing crazy. But you would hope that since they didn't really do a bunch of new sculpting on this figure that they would have nailed the paint, but that's not necessarily the case. And then we have these feet here that do look new to me. We've got some tread on the bottom of them, so that looks cool. But yeah, you know, zooming in close, you can see all these imperfections, but if he's just standing on the shelf, you're not going to see little nicks and things like that. But these seams are very ugly, so I am going to try to touch those up. And for accessories, he does come with the Build-A-Figure piece, and aside from that, he does come with two different sets of hands. First off, we have a pair of fists, and then we have a set of flat hands, which are perfect for flight poses. And now for some size comparisons, we have Sam Wilson alongside two of his best buddies in the whole wide world. On the left, we have the Marvel Legends Crimson Dynamo Wave Winter Soldier, and on the right, we have the Marvel Legends 80th Anniversary Captain America. And I think these three look great together, so I'm definitely going to have them posed all together on the shelf. And then next up we have Falcon alongside the Marvel Legends Thunderstrike and the Marvel Legends Kang. And then now here we have Falcon alongside the Marvel Legends Deluxe War Machine and the Marvel Legends Vintage Wave Vision. And then now here we have Falcon alongside the G.I. Joe Classified Duke and the G.I. Joe Classified Cobra Trooper. And some Falcon and Captain America versus Cobra could really make for some really cool pictures. So I'm happy that these guys look good together. And then for the final size comparison, of course, we have Falcon alongside the Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man and Marvel Legends Bucky Cap. And as for the articulation, there's really no surprises here because as I mentioned before, this figure is mostly made up of the Sunfire body mold. So if you have any figures that are on that buck, then you should be pretty familiar with the articulation setup on it. He does have a couple of new parts like the arms, but they have double jointed elbows just like that buck. So there's no differences. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into it. I've decided to keep the wings on there because one thing that I really dislike about the Vulture figure, who has these same wings, was the fact that the wings would not stay in the arms when I would play around with the figures. So it kind of ruined my enjoyment of that figure because I had to like glue those wings down in order for me to have them stay in place because those things would just fall out randomly. He'd be standing on the shelf and the wings would fall off. I don't know if I got a bad one or what, but the wings drove me crazy. But I'm happy to say, in this case, the wings stay on even when I'm articulating the figure. So I wanted to keep him in here so you could see the way he looks when he's all posed up. You know, in flight poses, but still having the wings on there so you don't have to imagine it, you know. But let's go ahead and get into it. So, first off, the head is on a ball joint, so it does move side to side. He could look down to right there, which is nice. And what's even better is he could look up a really good amount. So check that out. So for when you want to get him into those flight poses, he has no problem looking forward. So that's really nice. And then for the torso, we do have an ab crunch, which crunches forward a really good amount. This is one of my favorite molds from Hasbro, and I think it works pretty good for Falcon, so I'm happy with it. And then we do have a waist swivel. And then for the arms, we do have butterfly jointed shoulders, which are nice, especially if you want to get them into these big, dramatic, crazy flying poses. Look at that, that's dope, right? And then he does have ball jointed shoulders, so his arms do go all the way around. They come out to the side a really nice amount. So there you go. And then he does have upper bicep swivel. He has double jointed elbows, there we go. And the wings are two separate pieces. Just in case you're not familiar with these wings, they are separate pieces so they don't interfere with the articulation at all. And the bend on these elbows is pretty nice. I heard that the pinless thing is going to restrict articulation a little bit, but that doesn't seem to be the case right here anyways. Look at that. That's a really nice bend on the elbow. So good stuff. And as you can see, the wings are staying in place and they look good. I'm very happy that they use this body on Falcon, especially for these shoulders. It's going to be really helpful when you're trying to get him into nice flight poses. Anyways, for the hand, we do have a swivel and a hinge. And then for the legs, his legs do come out to the side to about right there. You could kick forward. Only to about right there. There we go. He does have, oh, it could go back only to right there, so not very much. He does have upper thigh swivel, double jointed knee, which gets a good bend. And then he does have a lower leg swivel. And then at the foot, you could bring them up to right here, bring them forward to right here, and then he does have rocking ankles. So yeah, this body does have really good articulation for a character like Falcon. The main positive here is the fact that this body has the butterfly jointed shoulders. That will really help a lot for getting him into flight poses. And I'm very happy to see that his head moves up too, because you never know, man. sometimes they do some weird things, you know, like obvious things for figures that aren't there. But in this case, you know, Falcon has everything he needs as far as posability. And look at that. That looks really dope. Alright, so I do think this is a really cool figure, but I can't help but think that he feels a little plain, especially in the body. I do wish that they put a little bit more sculpting work into the body, maybe just some minor details, nothing major, and I understand that that's much easier said than done, because to do things like that, it requires new sculpting work, new tooling, all that madness, so I understand, but at the same time, I just wish that we had a little bit more here, you know? Like, the body just feels so generic, and I mean, it is what it is. It's a Hasbro figure. Sometimes it goes down like that. They're not going to put a crazy amount of sculpted detail into every figure like they did Kang and Doctor Doom, but it would be nice if Falcon got just a little bit more love, because he is a very popular character, especially in the last couple of years with his appearances in the movies and all that good stuff. So, you know, I wish that they put a little bit more love into it. But as it is now, it is a really nice figure. It does look the way that he looks in the more modern comics, or maybe not modern, but this kind of reminds me of like 90s Falcon, or like, you know, the 2000s Falcon. The old Toy Biz one was straight up old school 70s Falcon. And, you know, that look is kind of outdated. So this is much more modern and contemporary, and it does look nice. And I really appreciate that they gave him new arms with the pinless joints. Again, it's kind of funny when they do the pinless joints on the arms, but not the legs. It kind of clashes a little bit. I think doing pinless joints on his legs would have been really nice, especially since they did it on the arms already. But I do appreciate the new arms. I like the wristband things. Those things look cool. The sculpting work on the head is very nice. I think the wings are great. I'm very happy to see that the wings stay onto the figure with no problem at all, even when I'm messing around with him. So that's a huge relief, because I wasn't sure if that's going to be the case. And the articulation on this body is really good too. It's one of the more articulated Marvel Legends bucks, so I'm happy that they used a good body for him. One thing I am disappointed in is the lack of a certain accessory. I think it's total bullshit that they didn't include a Red Wing figure. That really, really sucks. I know that he was left out of the movies. It doesn't mean that Hasbro has to leave him out too. That's kind of weak. So, I don't know. I'm not sure if we'll ever get the chance to get a Red Wing figure. You know, maybe they'll throw him in with like a random Captain America figure. They've done that a couple of times where they just throw random pieces for other figures with, you know, figures that aren't necessarily like tied to them. Like, for instance, when they threw the Lilandra head in with Rogue, you know. That was, or not with Rogue, with Mystique. That was a random one for sure, but hey, whatever, we got a Lilandra head. Hopefully they pull something like that with Red Wing, but we'll have to see. Yeah, in general, I am very happy with this figure, and it's nice to have a modern looking, up-to-date Falcon figure for my Avengers shelf. He's going to look so dope hanging out with Winter Soldier and Captain America. So I am very happy to have it. And with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. Thank you very much. Peace.